All right, welcome back. Another episode of the Rough Rigs SuperCoach podcast. Just me today, going solo. No Mitch. Now, obviously a tough week. Mitch goes missing. I'm still here for you. That's the kind of person I am. You know, Mitch likes to disappear when times get tough. I'm staying strong. Now, it has not been a good week. Now, I got 1,034, couple of trades, did not go to plan. So my season rank 31,887. It's not good fun. It's not good fun being that far down the ladder. Plenty of room to make up. But again, still early doors. So hopefully a couple of good weeks and we can turn that around. But yeah, the trades that I had didn't really go to plan whatsoever. So I'll have a look at my team. Harry Grant, he did all right. I was kind of waiting for him to do something. He did. He did well. The base was back up. Had a couple more runs, but the tackles were the big thing for Harry Grant, really getting those tackles back up there. So good to see 70 points. I think he might have got a line break or a line break assist, but didn't do a whole lot else in terms of attacking stats. So pretty pleased with that. Sandon Smith, 57. I did play him. Let me just revert my team back to how it was. Okay. So, yeah, Sandon Smith, 57 off him. Payne Haas, 82. Just keep doing Payne Haas things, really. So, if you don't have him, he's just one that you've just got to get in now. Really, like, he's just good. He really is. Like, 82 points, all in base. He's got, and this was without the offload, obviously, you know, wetter conditions. He probably put the offload away. So I didn't really get too many. I think he might have had one, maybe two at most. He's been offloading all year like crazy. So 82 points. He did play big minutes, but hey, like it's Payne Haas. He's going to keep playing big minutes, I think. So, yeah, and still Ramadan. So, you know, when he's allowed to eat during the day, imagine how good he can be. May, 92, just incredible. Played huge minutes. I think he might have played the full 80. He's just a machine, May. Like, he's another one, same as Haas. He played 80 minutes. Like, if you don't have him, get him in. Like, yeah, what are you doing? Because he's just incredible. Corey Horsburgh, 65, playing at lock, not too bad. He certainly had the license to offload. He was offloading willy-nilly, which was good to see. Hopefully that continues. Now, Royce Hunt, this is where things get tough for me. You're probably looking at that thinking, what the fuck are you doing playing Royce Hunt? Yeah, no good. Obviously, Dewey was the laid out there, which did not help me. I had no one else to go to, so it was either burn a trade or get Hunt. His points were going to drop out anyway, so I thought, put the reserve on him. Hopefully he crosses over for a try. He didn't. Scored 15 points. So, yeah, no good there. But, yeah, thanks for that, Dewey. Tino, 77 points. Now, with a try, I think he was on 60-something, and he's updated a little bit, which is good. Yeah, I thought when he crossed over try, he played big minutes, 63 minutes, 77 points with a try. The base was down a little bit. If I just have a look at his base stats, would help if I got his name right. Yeah, he's not overly, to be honest. Yeah, 48 in base. Okay, never mind. I'm talking shit. Yeah, I just thought with that try he might have been up a little bit more, but yeah, no, his base stats were still up. So anyway, don't know what I'm talking about. Seyfarth, he was outstanding for me. Finally, he looks like he's coming good. He just an absolute tackling machine. I think he got 40 odd points just in tackles alone. He's seeing a little bit more ball than he usually has the last couple of weeks as well. Yeah, 43 points in tackles, just insane. Got a line break as well and a little try assist, so that was very, very handy. But yeah, he's coming along quite nicely. So very happy with Seyfarth. Started slow, but he seems to be really picking it up in recent, the last 2 weeks. Got the try last week and then, the try assist this week. So he's getting a lot more ball. He's getting a lot more attack. I think with Luai out this week as well. That's only going to help him. So he's probably not one that you'd be looking at trading him, I think, at this stage. But if you've got him, I think he's definitely a hold. I'm super confident playing him every week. Nicholson, brought him in this week, 45. Looked the goods, to be honest. He looked pretty good. Close to scoring a couple of times, I thought. He runs a good line, and they tend to like giving him the ball close to the line. So I think it's only a matter of time before he crosses over another try or two, hopefully coming this week, which will be nice. Unfortunately, though, the downside of bringing in Nicholson, I traded out Preston, who has just been killing me. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been good. He hasn't been what I thought, getting high 40s, but just in base. He hasn't been seeing much of a ball, catching a cold on that right-hand side. So I sold him. They put him back on the left-hand side, and he's just an outstanding weapon again in attack. Who would have thought? So that was disappointing to see him line up on the left. Obviously scored the try, got a try assist, did heaps. I think he got 120-something points. So, yeah, cheers, Preston. That one hurt. So let's move on from that. Hopefully there's other people in the same boat as me. That would be nice because I feel like a bit of a dickhead from selling him. But Nat White, put the reserve on him, 77 points. He's doing outstanding, playing huge minutes. A lot more minutes than I thought he'd be getting, to be honest, 50 minutes. I thought with Robinson, he'd get a lot more inconsistency with his minutes is probably more the right word. I thought he'd have games where he got 40, 35 minutes, like what we saw with May last year, but he's playing pretty consistent around that 50, 55-minute range, which is really good. And he looks really good as well. He's got the offload. His work rate is right up there. So, yeah, he's looking quite good, Nat White. Very happy, and he's probably a comfortable play, to be honest, in your 17s. I was umming and ahhing this week whether to play him or not, but yeah, went with him and glad I did. Jack Jawecki, 59, very, very good. Now, good news for him with the suspension of Ricky. He looks to be kind of locked up at least for another week, playing big minutes, second row, so hopefully he gets another attacking stat or two and gets kind of 50 points and keeps making money. So, yeah, I was tempted to sell him last week, but pretty glad I held on. Obviously, didn't play him. Not really ever tempted to play him, nor should I have been. But, the way he's going, he looks good. So, hopefully, next, I think Ricky's out for 2 weeks. So, 2 more weeks, and then we'll probably look at getting rid of him. But hopefully makes another, I don't know, close to maybe 70K by then would be nice. Hubner obviously didn't play back this week, though, so that's nice. Brought in Adam Reynolds for Duffy, which I'm still happy about. Look, he did nothing, Adam Reynolds, got 27 points. Just didn't see much ball, really. It was just kind of a little bit of a scrappy game. It was all going left through Shibasaki. Reynolds didn't have to do much, really. It was just kind of get the ball, pass it on to the edges and let them do their thing. So I think. Look, the thing with Reynolds is when I bought him, and I said last week, he's not a season keeper. He's not going to finish as a top 2 halfbacks. But his draw coming up over the next, look, we keep talking about his draw. It's still good. It's getting trickier. But I think the next 3 weeks is really good for Adam Reynolds. He's got the Tigers this week, which as good as the Tigers have been, they haven't had great opposition. So it's still a tough kind of thing to know where they stand. Like you look at all the stats and defensively they're one of the better teams in the competition, but they haven't had much thrown at them. So I think against a quality team like the Broncos, I think they could be in for a real hammering, to be honest, up at Suncorp this week. So I'm confident with Reynolds, he'll turn things around. Got the Tigers and the Roosters. And then the Warriors. So a good 3-game stretch there. Then it gets a bit trickier. I might look to off him in round 8 where he's got the Bulldogs and Panthers. Maybe go him up to Nico. You could probably, by that point, they're probably going to be similar pricing anyway. So, and what it does, it gives you a couple of weeks to work out what the go with Nico is. I know Mitch is really keen on Nico, being a Sharkies fan and all that. And I think in terms of actual NRL, I think it works, what they're doing. Just I'm worried in terms of Supercoach still about Trindle. I think Trindle does take a lot of ball. He is a very dominant half. And, as a result, he's getting less ball, less involvements, and his ceiling is not as high. This is Nico. Ceiling is not as high as what it once was. So I'm still a little bit cautious. I still think he'll end up in the top 2 halfback by the end of season, but I just don't think it's as a must as what it would be in previous years without Trindle. So I just want a couple more weeks just to have a look how that goes, and then I'll probably go Adam Reynolds to Hines potentially. Munster 5'8", 57 points. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, obviously Dewey we talked about. He was the laid out, which hurt, but what can you do? He's got named this week, so it couldn't have been too bad. Just a little groin niggle, I think. Hate when you get them. Garrick 61, very very good. Just solid numbers. Jesse Arthur's 37. Look, to be honest, surprised he got that many. Didn't really do a whole heap. Didn't have to. It was all kind of going Shibasaki, who I did not play, so that was good. 37 points for him. I'm happy enough with that. Still made a bit of money, but he's on the chopping block this week, I think. There's someone by the name of Jenkins that I'm very keen on, and probably everyone should be keen on. He's got negative 90 odd break even, so he's a must-have, I think, this week, Jenkins. So Jesse Arthurs is probably the one that's going to make way for me. A couple of other options, but we'll chat about that in a sec. Tamale, 78, very, very good. Got that try. Back to his kind of getting those tackle breaks and all those power stats as well, which is nice to see. He obviously didn't have them last week, which was annoying, but he got them back this week. So hopefully that continues. Robert Toya, I had to play, got 45, which I'm pretty pleased with, to be honest. 45 without doing a whole lot. I will take, Shibasaki, 116 was outstanding, was in absolutely everything, was doing it all. Good stuff. Well done if you played him. I did not. So that, wasn't great. But anyway, fullback, Tom Trbojevic had as captain, as a lot of people did. Thought he'd go massive against the Eels, and he probably would have. He looked good in the 10 minutes that he was fit. So obviously did his MCL, will be out for 4 weeks. He's a sell. Well done to everyone that sold him a couple of weeks ago. That was obviously the right play in hindsight, but it hurt. It did. It was. You didn't want to be my dog on Sunday. That's for sure. They were getting absolutely beaten. Anyway, Iongi, 35. Look, it was all right. But there was two forward passes, I think, that he threw. Both could have been tries. He gets, those forward passes called back 70, 80 points. So, look, 35 as a floor, not too bad from Iongi. I'm looking at maybe potentially selling him. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we'll get onto that in a sec, but we'll go through team lists because there's a few SuperCoach relevant news. For the Raiders, not really anything in terms of SuperCoach, to be honest. Nothing worth talking about, I don't think. Morgan Smithy's on the bench, but that's nothing to really talk about. For the Sharkies, Iro is out, which is upsetting for Mitch. He brought him in as a little super pod, and it was looking good, and then he got injured. Hamstring, I think, so no good for Iro. Those small percentage of people that own Iro, I think it's only like 3%. So, No Talakai either. He had that injury too. So, but nothing in terms of SuperCoach news for the big guns. I think that all stays the same. For the Panthers and the Cowboys game, Friday, 6 p.m. Panthers, obviously the big one. Nathan Cleary is back from his HIA, so good matchup for him. He's coming. Probably straight C on him for me, I think. Again, we'll talk about captains in a bit, but I'd be saying Cleary's right up there for me this week. At least a vice captain as an absolute minimum. Jenkins is the one everyone is on everyone's lips at the moment. And he's looking outstanding. He's getting like 50, 60 points in base. His runs are huge. His tackles are huge. As a centre, if we just have a look, because I was following these stats, and I think he got like 30 tackles, which is insane as a centre. Let me have a look here. tackles, 22 tackles, which, yeah, very, very good. Couple of offloads as well. A lot of runs. So he's just doing it all, Jenkins. No attacking stats, still getting 60. So, and I think, yeah, with Cleary back, he's only going to get better. Attacking stats are going to flow thick and fast. You would think he's going to make money quick. And, a couple of weeks we can look at him potentially being around 400 or 500K, which is crazy to think about. But, yeah, I think he's an absolute must this week. No other really news. Blaze Talangi, 18th man. Papali'i, if anyone's still got him for some reason, he's starting. So that's good news for those couple of people. That's kind of it for the Panthers. For the Cowboys, obviously as well, actually, Casey McLean comes in for To'o, who's out, which, yeah. I think the other thing with Jenkins as well is his job security is pretty good, even with To'o back. Alamotti seems to be locked in on that wing. I think they definitely chose Jenkins over McLean. I think that's the call that they made, and I think unless Casey McLean comes out this week and he absolutely kills it, I can't see a world where Jenkins gets dropped in the near future. Anyway, for the Cowboys, no changes there. I think they're 1-17. So how good? Zach Labour, sorry, he's on the extended bench as he has been the last couple of weeks. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. For the big game, the big rivalry, Rabbits over the Roosters. Obviously, Rabbits getting the big win last week over the Panthers. Big news in Latrell, he's back, but playing at centre. At centre, I personally, I'm not that keen on. If he was at fullback, I would be very, very tempted to bring him in this week. But at centre, I'm happy to give him a week. I don't know how involved he's going to be. I don't know what his role's really going to be, whether he's going to be that roaming kind of extra fullback almost, or whether he's just going to be sitting on that left side just waiting for the ball. If he gets the ball, he'll make 2 or 3 runs a game. That's what I'm worried about. So for his price, I'm steering clear. The good news is, though, if he can play a couple more games in the centres, he gets dual position, which will be very, very handy. If he can get Latrell in our centres, look out. That could be very, very good. Nothing else. Hubner, he's back this week, starting at lock, which is very, very good for Hubner holders. I think he's potentially a buy as well this week, to be honest. I think the old Hubner. I think he's still got a negative 20-something break even. He hasn't had a price rise yet, negative 25 break even. So he's just going to be super solid, I reckon, Hubner. If you don't have him, he's definitely one to look at. He's a good option, but not a must-have. Not a must-have, that's for sure. For the Roosters, no changes there, I don't think. Connor Watson, he's back at hooker, which is very nice for the Connor Watson holders. Definitely one to look at in the next couple of weeks. I think if you're looking to spend an upgrade in your hooker position, he's definitely one of the better options. I think him and Harry Grant. Obviously, Harry Grant did really well last week, but before that, not great. I think personally, at the start of the year, I think Connor Watson is probably the form hooker. So, but yeah, Alex Johnson's out with his injury as well. So, yeah. But yeah, the big news out of that game is probably Latrell being back for the Eels and the Dragons. Battle of the Gutherinos here. Very, very good, exciting game. A game that I'm probably going to go to as a big Parramatta fan, as much as that hurts to admit at the moment, the way we're travelling. But it should be a good game up at CommBank. For the Eels, a lot of changes, but nothing too relevant. Riley Smith is named, so he's one to look at. Not this week, but it's just worth looking at. Just worth looking at, seeing what minutes he gets. He did get big minutes his first couple of games, and didn't perform too well in terms of his SuperCoach output. So it'll be interesting to see. He actually had a lot better PPM in the limited minutes, 35 and 32 minutes. He got 27 and 31, whereas at the start of the season, 52 and 55 minutes for scores of 16 and 35. So he's one to keep an eye on for sure. But yeah, he's definitely not someone that I'd be racing to get into my team at the moment. Dylan Walker as well on the bench. So yeah, he's probably going to play a couple of minutes, you would think, at hooker, you would think. But yeah, who knows? It's just worth watching a week, seeing what happens. Bailey Simonson as well is named on the extended bench, so he could come in for probably Sean Russell, which will, he could be, it's not really a super coach option really. Joey Lussick's out, obviously, so no one would have him, I doubt. For the Dragons, a couple of little things here. Hamish Stewart's been named, despite that little injury he picked up. Gula is out, and that's kind of it. I've seen a couple of people looking at Dylan Egan coming off the bench as well. Again, played the one game, a couple of injuries in that Dragons team, or one injury. So he played probably bigger minutes than what he would have normally done. I think it's worth just waiting a week on that and just seeing what happens. Not one that I would rush into. Too many question marks around him and his minutes and his job security. So it's not going to change in price this week, so just give it a week. The Titans and the Dolphins, the Queensland Derby, there's a lot of them going around these days. I think the Titans are unchanged by the looks of things. A couple of little changes, but nothing too big. For the Dolphins, again, Tom Gilbert is out. So if you're a Tom Gilbert owner, that is, maybe looking at moving on Gilbert. He hasn't been too impressive. Had the first game where he was really good, scored huge points in base, 60 points in base, but hasn't really done much since then. Just kind of been decent high 40s, low 50s kind of player. So he's probably one that you can move on, to be honest. Lemu is back as well, so it's interesting to see how he goes. I was a big fan of him in the preseason, played that one or half a game, really got HIA, then missed a couple of games, and then played back, but played probably not the work rate that I was expecting from him. So it'll be interesting. He's back again, but we'll see how he goes. Watch him closely. Broncos and the Tigers, as I said before, I think this is going to be a good game to be a Broncos fan, to be honest. I think they're going to rack up the points. Reece Walsh at fullback, I think he's going to be in for a big one. But yeah, apart from that, I think they are just about unchanged. Obviously, we talked about before, Ricky is out, so Piakora, he goes into the starting side, which is good news for Jawetski owners, I think. And then for the Tigers, Dewey is back playing at centre despite that groin injury. So just one to watch hour before kickoff, because he could potentially be a late out again. But he's looking like he's been named, looks like he's going to play, which is good. No, obviously, what's his name? Jerome Luai. No Luai, he's out suspended, I think, for 2 weeks, I believe. Might only be 1 week, I'm not sure. But Finu is in the number 7 jersey, which is interesting. But probably not one to look at. He's not going to get the minutes, or he's not going to get the job security. He's not going to get any price rising. So as good as I think he is actually as a player, I just don't think it's worth getting. Sea Eagles over the Storm. Battle of Brookie. Lehigh Hopewade comes into the number 1 jersey to replace Tom Trbojevic. That'll be good. Lehigh Hopewade, I think he's a real talent. I think he is available in the centres as well. He's one that I've got my eye on. Not for this week, I don't think. You can get him in the centres. The only issue is Manly's draw coming up is not the best. Got Melbourne and Sharks the next 2 weeks. So then he's got the Dragons, not bad, but then he's got the Panthers, then the bye, and then the Sharkies again. Jeez, they play the Sharkies a lot. But after that, it does open up. So I think from probably, round 11, he's definitely an option. 11, 12, 13 covers that round 12 bye, which will be really good. So he's someone that you can keep an eye on. Hopefully he doesn't get out of range in terms of his price. I think he's upside is definitely there at fullback. I think he, probably averages, I would say, around 60, just off the top of my head. Let's look into it. Do a bit of research here. Lehigh Hopewade playing at fullback. I think he played one game. He got 35 against Canberra. But last year is what I'm interested in, because I remember I had him and he was decent. He was decent without going huge. I think he would have averaged around 70 last year, just off the top of my head. Lehigh Hopewade last year playing at fullback. He played 4 games. I think that first game against Melbourne, he was fullback as well. Got scores of 76, 55, 92 and 30. So, yeah, not great, to be honest. Not great, not bad, though. I think he's going to put up, around 30 points in base at fullback. And then he's obviously got the upside there, playing for a great, attacking team. But he needs a soft draw, I reckon. I'd be worried playing him. Panthers last year playing at 1, he got 55 points, so not bad. But I would not feel comfortable bringing him in, I don't think, with their draws. So he's one to look at, one to get in a couple of weeks' time, but I don't think I'd be racing to get him in this week. But yeah, definitely an option in the near future. Nathan Brown starts at prop, which is interesting. It wouldn't be a bad option if he can get there long term, but I think it's only a pretty short term play with Josh Aloiai out. That's it for the Manly Seagulls. The other one is Clayton Falongo. He goes in on the wing to replace Hopewade, who's gone to fullback. So he's one to keep an eye on as well in the next couple of weeks. Could be a potential little cheapie there. And then for the Storm, no changes there. Still no Jerome Hughes, but he is named on the extended bench. So that's kind of it. Bulldogs and Knights, the last game of the round. For the Doggies, still no signs of their big guns. Tupanua is out with that little suspension. So Josh Curran comes into the starting side, and I think Jack Dodd comes onto the bench. For the Knights, no real changes here. I don't believe. It looks pretty stock standard, 1-17. So yeah, Thomas Kent, he's one to look at as well. Did really well the first week. I think got about 60 points in base. Looking good. If he can get a good week this week, I think he's probably someone that you're going to want to bring in next week. But I wouldn't this week. We just don't know. There's a little bit of talk. I think Bradman Best came out on the Matty John show and he said that what's his name? Dylan Lucas. Dylan Lucas isn't too far away. So you don't want to bring in Kent and then all of a sudden he goes back to the bench or something like that. So he's one, if he can get through this week and he gets started in the second row next week, he's definitely an option. But yeah, that's the team list. So that's it in terms of that. Now let's talk about the big issue of the week, I think. We've had a couple of questions about who to bring in for Tom Trbojevic. So what we'll do, I'm in the same boat. We'll go through the options that we've got. We'll go through kind of the top 6 or 7 options. Clint Gutherson is obviously a very popular one. Got Parramatta this week. And to be honest, I'm tempted by it. I love the storyline of Gutherson up against his old club. I think he could go huge. I think he could get a couple of tries. The Gutherino is going to be in action. I think he's a good play. I just don't know long-term. Whether he's a long-term fullback option that you want, I don't know. I don't know whether he's in your top 2 or 3 at the end of the year. Probably not. But he's still a decent enough price. This break-even's 40, so he's going to probably... he should hit that. So I don't hate the play. I'm tempted by it. I'm just a little bit concerned. James Tedesco is the next one. 859K, so there's still money there. Still expensive. He's still going to lose a little bit of money. I think his break even is 124. He does like playing against the Rabbitohs, though. He's always up for the Rabbitohs. His base stats, his tackle breaks have been up the last few weeks as well. It was a bit down in the round one, but after that, the tackle breaks are right up there. He's getting line breaks. He's getting really involved. He looks good. He just hasn't got those big attacking stats with the tries and the try assists. I think they could come, but it's not the easiest next 3 weeks. He's got South this week, then the Broncos, then the Panthers. By that time, he could have lost 100K. So I like him, though. I do like him, and he's a real pod. He's only owned by 4% of teams, and that's what's tempting me by him, to be honest. If he was owned by probably 15, 20%, I wouldn't really want to touch him, but by 4%, I'm a little bit tempted off. You've all seen my ranks. I need to kind of do something different to get up the ranks. I think I might go Tedesco. I do like the look of him. I think he looks good. I think he's the safest option. I don't think he's going to get you 20 points. I think he's always going to get you at least 40 just in his work rate. So the only thing is obviously they don't look good, the Roosters. They don't look good. I think they'll come good. I think they'll get better the more they play, the more those new combinations, the new halves pairing work together. I think they're going to get better. There's enough signs there. But I think Tedesco, I think he's doing a lot. He's doing everything for him, really. And I think if they're going to score well, I think he's going to be being involved in a lot of it. So yeah, I do like the play. Connor Tracy is actually not a bad little pod either, 5.2%. Doesn't probably have the upside, but he's getting very involved with obviously Burden out as well. He's getting even more involved. 62 last week, 53 against Parramatta, 63 and 90 the first week against St. George. Just super consistent. That has involved a try or a try assist in each game. Probably doesn't quite have the it's not bad base, but it probably doesn't quite have the base of a Tedesco, just because he doesn't have the tackle breaking ability of him, a smaller body, obviously. But he's not a bad little pod. I think he's still got a decent floor, just doesn't have the upside. I don't see a big 150 in him, but he's going to be solid, kind of get you from 60 to 80, I think, most weeks. Scotty Drinkwater, he's got the goal kicking. I thought Clifford would take it off him, but he seems to have the goal kicking. So he's not a bad option. I don't hate him. He's just a little bit pricey for the way the Cowboys look. 702. I can't spend that on any Cowboys asset at the moment, the way they are looking. But yeah, it's not a bad little pod. Again, 4.2% ownership. I think he'll come good. I think he'll probably find his way into my side at some point in the year. I just don't think it'll be now. Their draw coming up, obviously got the Panthers this week, then Rabbitohs, then the Titans. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's a bit mixed. Then he's got the Panthers again in round 10. Yeah, maybe over the origin period, he's someone that I'll look at from like round 13 onwards. He plays 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and throughout the rest. So just misses the last round 27. But yeah, from round kind of 13 onwards, he's someone that you can definitely look at over that origin period. If he can maintain that goal kicking. Ryan Papenhuyzen, he is a big option. Isn't goal kicking. I think that's more so to do with Wishart being the preferred goal kicker rather than like any ankle injury, to be honest. I've heard, a couple of people coming out and saying that he wasn't goal kicking because of the ankle. I don't think it was. I don't think it was injury related. I think it was just purely Wishart was picked as a better goal kicker, the way he kicked. When Meaney went down that game a couple of weeks ago and Papenhuyzen took over, he shanked a couple, so he didn't look great at the goal kicking, a bit rusty. So I think that was more why he didn't kick. But I think with Jerome Hughes coming back, I think they kind of got no choice but to have Papenhuyzen kick because Wishart will drop back to the bench. So just depending on what happens there. I think if Jerome's a late in, Pappenhausen is one that I'll look at. I just don't like him without the goal kicking. He just doesn't have the floor anymore. Still got those big scores in him because he's just so electric, so elusive. He's going to get line breaks. He's going to get tackle breaks, especially against a soft draw coming up. Manly this week. Then he's got the Warriors, Dolphins, Souths, Canberra, Tigers. So, yeah, if Jerome Hughes is back and Wishart goes to the bench, I'm probably going to look at getting Pappenhausen. I think it's a good play. I'm not super sold on him. I'm not super confident on him. I do think he's got low scores in him. I do think he's got a 20 or a 30 in him if he doesn't get those attacking stats. But he does just look so good. He looks so fast. His footwork is as good as it's been the last few years, I think, having that full preseason under his belt. So Lehigh Hopewade, we spoke about him. He's probably not one I'd look at this week. Halen Ponga, I think he's probably a really good option. If you did sell him, I think it's time to bring him back, to be honest. I think he's one that is going to finish in the top 2 or 3 fullback options for the year. Does have the Bulldogs this week, so you can wait a week if you want. But, hey, if you're looking for a fullback this week for Turbo, I think he's probably your best bet. I think if you don't have Ponga, I think I'd be getting him back in. Because after the Bulldogs, he's got the Tigers, he's got the Sharks, and the Warriors, South, Gold Coast, and Parramatta. So the next probably month or two is going to be really, really good for Kalen Ponga. And he's got the upside. He's got a decent enough floor with the goal kicking. There's a lot of boxes that he's ticking. So, yeah, happy with that. Jai Gray I wouldn't go near at the moment with Latrell back. He could kind of lose his spot at any point. Jaden Campbell is the last one that I'll talk about. 708K at 39 break even. He's one that I'm looking at as well. I think for me, I think it's out of him or Tedesco. I think I'm going to go one of those two. He's got a really handy dual 5'8" and fullback, which is nice. So I can, flip him probably for Dewey eventually, get him back into the 5'8" position and bring in another fullback. Decent draw coming up, a really good draw actually. He's got the Dolphins, St. George, Canberra, and the Cowboys in the next 4 weeks. He has been really pretty consistent this year, 46, 117, and 63. The goal kicking obviously helps. He has a much better floor with that goal kicking, but I have owned him in the past, and he's been kind of rocks and diamonds. He doesn't have that huge base, but this season it's not too bad. And again, obviously that goal kicking does help, and I do love a good goal kicker. They're very good for me. I like them. Let's have a look. I just want to see what his base has been. If we have a look at... Where is he? Campbell. Jaden Campbell. So he's got a base of 24, which isn't horrible. When you throw in the goal king, it's probably at least an extra 10 points. So say 35, 30, high 30s would be his floor. And then, yeah, with all the attack that he's capable of, I think with Kinney out as well, I think that helps him. He's going to get a little bit more involved, a little bit more control of the team. He's got the 7 on his back, not the 6, which again I think helps him. I think he's just going to be involved in a lot. So yeah, and again with that really handy duel, I think he's certainly an option. So if I had to rank them, I think I'd have Ponga as the number 1. I'd probably have, I'll probably have Campbell as 2. James Tedesco as 3, Gutherson as 4, Pappenhausen as 5, I think. All of them are great for different reasons. They've all kind of got their pros and cons. But yeah, if I had to pick it in order, I think that's where I'd be going with. And I was really keen on Pappenhausen last week. And I think this week I'm not as keen on, just with the question marks around his goal key. I think if Jerome Hughes gets named, I think instead of being at number 5, he's probably at number 3 for me. So and he's going to be a lot more popular. That's the thing as well with Pappenhausen. 21% own him already. I don't know. I'm just feeling like a fullback position, if you make a real big pod play at the fullback position, it can kind of make or break your season. I'm willing to take that chance, I think. So that's where my head is at with the fullbacks. Now, the other big trade option, the big question point, a lot of question marks around Jenkins. A lot of people wanting to bring him in. First of all, I think he's a must-have. I really do. Not many people are must-haves, but I think Jenkins is one of them. He's got the base. He's got decent job security, I believe. He's playing for a great Penrith team. I know they've lost 3 in a row, but with Cleary back, they are just a different team. They've got a great draw coming up. If we have a look at the Panthers' draw, they've got the Cowboys, obviously, this week. And then that goes onto the Dolphins, onto the Roosters, then a turbo-less Manly. So really, really good signs, I think, for Jenkins. Get him in. -92. He's going to make 200, 250, 300K plus in price. And he could be a hold. He could be a season hold. He could be someone that, finishes in your top 3 or 4 centre wing options. Like, he's got that in him. If he can keep that base up and that work rate, the attacking stats are going to come. It's just a no-brainer. I can't see any reason not to get him, to be honest. If you have to boost to get him in, boost. If you have to sell a gun to get him in, sell a gun. Just get him in your team. I think you can't not get him in this week. I don't think. There's not many must-haves, but I think he's one of them. So it brings the question, who do you sell for him? Now, I'm looking at Jesse Arthurs. I was never really keen on Jesse Arthurs. I didn't like him. I didn't like his floor. On the weekend, he actually surprised me, 37 points. Maybe his floor's not as bad as what I thought it was, but if he doesn't get the attacking stats, his price is going to kind of store. He's not an urgent sell by any means. Like, he's not someone that, if there was no Jenkins, I would comfortably hold him another week. But there is a Jenkins, so you've got to sell someone, and I think he's probably the best candidate for me. Robert Toya is the other one that people are looking at. He's got a break-even of 22. He's 300K, so I think he's got a lot more money to make. Jesse Arthurs, he could have peaked. He could start losing money. Toya's not going to lose money. Does have a tough draw coming up. He's got Souths this week, then the Broncos, then the Panthers. So probably not going to get too many attacking stats. If you can just get through that little period, the draw does open up. He's got St. George and the Dolphins after that. He's just got to jag a try. If he jags a try, he's going to start, that's 3 weeks of making decent money, and he'll be up around 400K. So 400, even more, 500K potentially, if he can jag a try. He's got the base. He's got a good floor. Like, he didn't get any attacking stats on the weekend. He got 45 points. So he's someone that I'm a lot more confident to play if I need to. I don't like playing Jesse Arthurs. It scares me playing him. And I don't like watching the game when I'm scared. It's not fun. So, he's going to go for me. Tamale. The good news with Tamale is the ACL was probably not good news. It's a poor way to say it, but fuck it. I've said it. So, the ACL to Hopewade, he's out for the season, obviously. So, Tamale is very much locked in, really, like, regardless of whether he plays poorly or not. And as I said at the start of the show, his base was up, his tackle breaking was up. So, I'm super confident on him. I'm happy to hold him. I'm happy to play him most weeks, if I need to be honest. Purdue's the other one. Again, -10 break even. He's still got money to make. Does have a toughish draw, but I'm happy to hold on to him for a couple of more weeks. So I think, process of elimination, Arthurs has got to go. The other option you could do is you could kind of trade Iongi, maybe, to him, but I think Iongi's got money to make. Tom Trbojevic, you could just go straight Tom Trbojevic, shift Iongi if you've got him to your fullback, and bring in not Jesse Arthurs, bring in whatever his name is, what I'm talking about, in at the flex position. Could work. I just think I think Jesse Arthurs is, as I said, not a must trade, but I think he's a decent trade out. I don't think he's going to – he could come out, score 2 tries and start making a whole lot of money again. But on the other side, he could also not score this week and really start to lose money for you. So, yeah, I think I'm happy to sell him. So that's kind of covers the 2 main talking points of obviously Jenkins and Tom Trbojevic. When you do that, you're going to have a lot of money. Like if you're going kind of Arthurs to Jenkins, it frees up a lot of money. You might be looking at boosting and trying to get another gun. I kind of have played around with this, whether I go Iongi up to another fullback. I could get both Pappenhausen this week and maybe a turbo, which I don't hate. The other option is you just if you don't have a May, if you don't have a Haas, get them in. They're a must-have. You could look at maybe getting in a Nico, potentially in your flex position, going Iongi up to a Nico. I don't hate it. I don't really love it, though. I probably wouldn't be burning a boost for it. Munster, again, the same thing. I think if you can do it in a trade without using a boost, I think it's one that you can, if you've got cash left, like just because you've got cash in the bank, you don't need to spend it straight away. Wait a week, see what other options. Ola Kawatu, I think, could go really good. I think Cherry Evans probably gets a bit more ball, gets a bit more involved without turbo. And that's going to have a really good impact on Ola Kawatu playing outside of him. So he's one that I'm really looking at in the second row. I don't really have anyone that I want to sell in the second row. I could go maybe next week, go Jawetski up to Ola Kawatu. I don't think he's got a low break even is the other thing. So, yeah, 60 break even playing up against Melbourne. I'm happy to give that another week. Again, Manly's draw isn't great. Melbourne, Sharks, St. George, Panthers. So I think from round, kind of 10 or 11, then he's got the bye. So 10 or 11, I think Ola Kawatu is one that you can definitely try and get in. He might have made some points, might score a couple of tries and gone up in value by then. But I think in the meantime, I think that's the play. I think it's better to wait with that Manly draw. So that is my thinking around the guns. I think wait a week. I don't think there's many huge kind of standout must-have gun options now. Maybe Angus Crichton in a couple of weeks. Maybe David Fafita if he can get back into the starting side. You know, there's options there. Harry Grant, who knows? He might go on a bit of a run. There's all these players that could be options, but they're not must-haves at the moment. I think wait a week, see another week to kind of see how the teams go, see what players are the best options, and then make your decision next week. If you've got, $400K sitting on the bank this week, it's not the end of the world. You don't have to spend it. I guess this is my point there. All right, we've got a couple of other niche questions that have been sent in, so I'll go through them. Now, the first one, Metcalf out for Fainu, Jenkins in for Stone Street, gives me money to go Latrell depending on how he goes at centre. I like Jenkins for Stone Street. I think that's fair. Stone Street, not a bad little pod, but is obviously attacking stat reliant. Got a big break in of 98. I think, look, he got that 18 a couple of weeks ago, which obviously hurt. I think, 533K. I think that's kind of what he's going to do. If he scores a couple of tries, he'll get a decent score. I do think 18 is unders for him. I don't really know. Like, he played the 80 minutes. I don't know whether he was a little bit injured or what was going on there. But normally his base is a bit better than that. But I think that's a fair trade. I would be very happy. If I had Stone Streak, I think I'd be having a look at selling him. Their draw does get pretty good, though, for the Sharkies. They've got Canberra this week, then Manly, then Newcastle, Tigers, Parramatta. It's not a bad little draw for them, so that's one to keep in mind as well if you are a Stone Street owner. He is a nice. I probably wouldn't, to be honest. If you've got Jesse Arthurs, I'd probably rather trade Jesse Arthurs, I think. I'd be more confident playing Stone Street in my 17, I would say. Let me just have a look at what his base is like. Yeah, 33 in base last week. I think he's going to kind of get around that, high 20s, low 30s in base as a minimum. I don't hate it. I really don't hate having him. I think he's a really handy pod. So, and that's the other thing, right? Like, he's so low owned. If he scores a couple of tries, he could make you really go up the rankings. So, I think, I probably wouldn't sell him. I think Arthur's, if you've got him, I think he's a better sell. Now, the other part of that question, Metcalf out for Fainu. I think Metcalf is a fine sell, but I would not be trading him Fainu. He's only going to be in the team for 1 to 2 weeks. He's not going to make any money. I think that's a silly trade, that one. I wouldn't be doing that. So if you're desperate for more money, I don't think you need the money. If you're going, if you go Jesse Arthur, let's say, to Jenkins, that's going to give you enough money. You don't need $800K to get, because you're trying to free up money for Latrell. So you could just go, if you've got Jesse Arthur's, sell him, and then if you want to sell Stone Street, sell Stone Street to Latrell next week, potentially. But yeah, I wouldn't be going Metcalf to Fino. I don't like that at all. If you're trading out Metcalf, and there's not a whole lot of cheapie options in the 5'8", so I get why you're thinking that way, because there's no other options other than Fino really as a downgrade. But I think Metcalf is a sell, but I think I would only sell him to upgrade him to like a Munster or a Dylan Brown or a Gun. I don't think I wouldn't trade him down. There's no point doing that. I think that's a waste. Anyway, moving on. Is Egan an option? This is obviously Egan from the Dragons. He's an option, but not this week. He's not going to make money this week. I want another week to look at his minutes. There were at least one injury from the Dragons game last week, so he may have played more minutes than what he normally would. So give him another week just to see what his minutes are like. And then, if he scores well, then for sure try and bring him in next week. But I wouldn't be trying to get him in this week. There's too many question marks there for me. All right, let me touch on quickly. We've been rambling on for a while, so I'll try and wrap this up pretty quickly, but I'll just go through what my trade plans are. Obviously, spoken about them, to be honest, a lot throughout the stream. The video, it's not a stream, is it? Jesse Arthur's, he's going to go for me. I'm pretty sold on him going, I think. The more I talk about it, the more I think that is the right option for my team. So he's going, and obviously Jenkins is coming in there. The other one is Tom Trbojevic. He's got to go. I don't know who yet. It might be Tedesco. It might be Jaden Campbell. It may be Pappenhausen, but I think it'll be either Tedesco or Jaden Campbell. I think that's the direction I'm going to go. I'm leaning probably more towards Tedesco at the moment, but that could go either way. So I'll make that decision close to the kickoff, but they're the two trades that I've locked in, and then I might go Iongi. I could probably have the money if I do that to go Iongi to a Pappenhausen, maybe. Jeez, that would be nice. I don't know. I don't really want to sell Iongi though. I think he's still money to be made. I think he hasn't really got many attacking stats, and he's still averaging 46. So he'll come good. I think once Moses is back in a couple of weeks' time, I don't know. I think around 9 Moses is back. Still a little way to wait. I don't know. Maybe I could. We'll see what happens there. The other option is, Ola Kawatu, but I think I've kind of gone cold on him just looking at Manly's draw. That's probably it. If I do boost, I think it'll be Iongi to maybe a Pappenhausen. But we'll wait and see there. Now, captaincy options. Cleary against the Cowboys is a standout for me, and I think any of your Broncos players as well. If you've got a Reece Walsh is actually the other one that I don't think I spoke about in the fullback position because he hasn't done much this year, but he's got the potential. Like, he's one that I could consider, to be honest. I didn't see him before, but yeah, 56, 55, 9 and 95 is his scores for the season. So very, very up and down. He is attacking stats reliant. He doesn't have a good base. He's got 3 good games coming up. If you buy him, you're kind of buying him for 3 games, and you probably want to get rid of him for the Bulldogs and the Panthers in round 8 and 9, and then you're getting towards Origin, which you would think he definitely finds his way into that team somewhere. I like it. I think it's a good risk because I think a lot of people will be scared off by that 9. I think he's pretty much bottomed out in price. 606K is a pretty good price for him. And over the next 3 weeks, he could absolutely kill it. Like, he's so good at getting tries and try assists in like the 68th minute to like the 78th minute. Like, that's his time where he just piles on the points, and he'll go from 30 points to 130 within 10 minutes. Like, he's that kind of guy. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could bring Iongi to him as well. That could be an option. I don't hate the Reece Walsh play, to be honest. I really don't. I think he's a better option than probably a Scott Drinkwater. I think he's a better option than Gutherson. I think riskier, but I think he's got a little bit more upside to him. I think he's just can score more points in attack than what and score more points quicker. I think Gutherson's got to do a lot to get 120 points, whereas Reece Walsh, he can get points so easily. Or he makes it look so easy anyway. So, yeah, that's my headspace there. For the captains, though, yeah, Reece Walsh, I think if you've got him, I think I'd be very, very tempted to captain him against the Tigers. Jaden Campbell against the Dolphins could be a little option. And then your other ones is just you go safe. Like the way the captains has been fucking us around the last couple of weeks with Tom Trbojevic getting injured and things like that. A couple of people got Cleary when he got injured with that HI and got 1 point as captain. So yeah, there's scars there. There's scars there from captains. So if you got Payne Haas, May sitting there that are going to get you 70, 80 points, maybe you just lock them in. Especially if there's a little bit of weather around, a little bit of rain, and your attacking players might not be as promising as what they would look. So, yeah, they're always an option. But I think Cleary against the Cowboys, Panthers are going to be looking for a statement. Like, they're not going to come out of the blocks thinking that it's an easy win. After losing 3 in a row, they are going to put everything into this. I think they're going to be training hard at CommBank Stadium. Obviously not, their traditional home, but I think the fans will still show up and get around them. So I'm pretty sold, I think, on just captain Cleary. And the other thing is, like, being so early in the round, a lot of people will vice captain him. A lot of people will be put off putting the straight captaincy on him. So I think you might get a little bit ahead if you just straight captain him the second game of the comp. Vice captain, I'm going to have to go someone from, I don't have any Sharks, Raiders, maybe Tamale as vice captain or Nicholson, but, Horsburgh maybe, I don't know. But I probably won't loop anyway. I'm pretty sold on Cleary there. So, that's the option. We'll go through the trades, ins and outs very, very quickly as well. I think we probably would have touched on most of them. Tom Trbojevic, most traded out player, makes sense. He's injured. He's gone. MCL, get rid of him. Jesse Arthurs, 502K. We talked about him, probably a sell. Metcalf, I did mention, I think he's a sell as well, but I wouldn't be selling down. I think sell up. I think if you're selling him if you've got money in the tank, go him up to Munster. I think is a great trade, or, one of those gun 5/8s. I don't think you'd be trading down for him. And if you look at who the gun 5/8s are, let's have a look. there's not a whole lot, to be honest. It's pretty dead, the whole 5'8". Galvin is an option this week. Obviously, I like being without Luai. Even with Luai there, he's doing pretty well. So Galvin is not a bad option. Cole, I wouldn't go near. Jaden Campbell, if you're going Harris, what's his name? Metcalf to Campbell, I think that's a very, very good trade. Who else have we got? Iongi is a trade out. We spoke about him. I don't think he's not a must sell, but if you've got all this money, he's in your flex position or even in your fullback position, you want to just get another gun in. I don't hate the play, but I do think there's still money there to be made for him. Robert Toyer, I'd prefer to sell Arthurs, but I don't hate that if that's your only way. If your only way to get Jenkins is to sell Toyer, that's fine. Kobe Hetherington, he's a sell. I think he's going to start losing a bit of money. Jerome Luai, I think he's a sell. I think he was a sell when he was playing. Now that he's suspended, I think cut your losses. He's already lost 153,000. He looks good, but he's just not producing SuperCoach points. So Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, yep, if you didn't get around to selling him last week, this is a week. Get rid of him. He's out for a long time still. Adam Dewey, I'm a little bit surprised to see him there just because he has been named. Whether this was people trading him before team lists, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm pretty comfortable holding him. Unless you got him in the centres, maybe with that groin injury, he probably loses the goal kicking this week as well. So that's one to think about. I still like him though. I think Dewey, with that duel, I think he's a lot more valuable. If you're selling him to Jenkins, I'd still rather a Jesse Arthurs, I think. And Skelton, he's obviously injured as well with that hamstring complaint. I think he's a sell, yeah. I wouldn't have any issues selling him. I think a lot of these sells are just, people trying to get to Jenkins, which is completely understandable. 23% of the trades is for him. 43,000 people were trading him in. Probably unders, to be honest. Probably should be more. Jaden Campbell, I think he's a good trade-in option. I don't think he's a must trade, but yeah, if you're selling Metcalf to him, I don't mind. If you're selling Turbo to him, I don't mind that either. Pappenhausen, again, a lot of people obviously bringing in fullback options for Turbo. Pappenhausen is one of the better ones. He's goal kicking when Jerome Hughes is back though. So he might not goal kick this week, but then from next week onwards, I think he's a good play from then. Break even 77, so he's not going to kill you if you don't get on this week. I think he's one that I'd rather wait a week on. Shibasaki is an interesting one. Now, negative 50 break even, 408K. Look, if Shibasaki hadn't have already made 175K and he has played his 2 games and he's 408K already, I think people would trade him in. So, in that regards, I think he is still a buy, but you've just got to put your ego aside and be like, well, he's already made 175K, but there's still a lot of money to be made over the next couple of weeks. He does look really good again. We've talked about the Broncos draw is pretty good coming up, so he's got nice base. I really do like the pick. Didn't play him last week because I'm an idiot, but I'll be playing him this week. So, yeah, I think he's a trade-in. I really do. I wouldn't be trading him over Jenkins, though. If you're looking at Jenkins or Shibasaki, I much rather Jenkins. But I think if you can do both, do both. Caden Ponga, yeah, makes sense. I think he's the best fullback option, to be honest. Tino, yeah, I think he's a good trade. I don't think he's a must-have. 47 break-even. He's probably... he's got a little bit more money to make, but last week was the week to get him. I don't think he's a must-have. I think you've probably got more pressing issues this week. I think, but hey, if you don't have Turbo, for instance, and your fullbacks and you're happy with them, and you want to make that extra trade, I think that's fine. He's a good buy, that's for sure. Clint Gutherson. Again, last week I think was the week to get Gutho just because of his price rise. He's going to make a little bit more money maybe. He's 750K. I just don't know if I want to pay that for Gutho for what he is capable of. I think he's a safe option, but I just think, look, obviously the first 2 weeks he was outstanding, right? He got a couple of hundreds, 113, 146. I don't think he's capable of doing that again, as stupid as that sounds. I just don't see him getting another 146 in him. But who knows? Like, everything in the Dragons is coming through him. Like, he looks so good for the Dragons. So maybe he does continue. Maybe he does finish as, one of the best fullback options. Nathan Cleary, if you don't have him, I think, get him in this week. This is the week he could go absolutely huge against the Cowboys. Nat White, I don't know if I'd be bringing him in. He's made 130K. He's 497. Break-even's negative 11. I can't see him making that much more money. He might top out at about 550K. It's probably not worth trading him in for 50K. Like, it's, and he's not good enough to be a keeper, I don't think. So if you've got him, great, hold him. But I don't think I'd be bringing him in. And Cam Munster's the other one at number 10, which I think is fine. I think he's the best 5'8" position, him and maybe Jaden Campbell, to bring in this week. So, if you're looking at selling Metcalf, he's the one to get him. That is it. Let's quickly look at our league very, very, very quickly. We've got a new leader. 49ers or Stars is leading our comp. 5,011 is their total score. You have to scroll down a lot to see me, so we're not even going to do that. But there is still time, I think, to join our league. I think it closes very, very soon in the next couple of rounds. So that league code 382783. Win a jersey. If you win the comp, you win a jersey. So plenty to play for. Free to enter. Just give us a like and a follow, a subscribe, all of that good stuff. But completely free. Win a jersey. How good? Can't go wrong. So, that's pretty much it. If you haven't join that. But anyway, that's it. Mitch will be back next week, so we'll be a bit better next week. He'll have better ideas than me, probably. The way I'm going, ranked at fucking 30,000. You probably don't want to listen to me. I'm surprised if anyone's still watching this, to be honest, because, I don't think I've given good advice this year. I certainly haven't done it myself. So, but that's SuperCoach, isn't it? Swings and roundabouts, that's for sure. That's it. See you next week. Hope everything goes well. Hope you win your matchups and you have a good week. No injuries. Let's hope so, hey?